Hey guys, so we're here today with a brand new AC-2 sail and the boss Andrea, who is going to explain to us everything that's new on this brand new AC-2 sail. Thanks for joining me here, and what can you tell me about this AC-2 sail?
Hi Niels, we are here with the AC-2, exactly. New name because we actually changed completely what was before the AC-Z. The AC-Z was a new concept sail where we had the cams just below the boom, and on top of the boom there was no cams. The advantages of having the cams under the booms are that you're feeling like you have a proper race sail, a proper drive, proper acceleration. So that's the reason of having cambers under the boom. But on top of the boom, let's say that the cambers are giving, yes, a little bit more power and stability, but it's a higher power. So if you're not really racing, you don't need that higher power to get that extra boost of acceleration to actually, let's say, go from one mark to the next, because you're more cruising on a cam sail to have fun. So by taking out the cams on top of the boom, you have the possibility to have a smaller mast leaf, which is having advantages like for water starting. You don't have the water which sits in the higher part of the sail, so it's easy to lift up to water start. It's easy to uphaul, and therefore this is our concept of the two-cam sail that we have introduced with the AC-Z.
Yeah, I tried this sail for the first time like 2 years ago and was actually in Tarifa, and I just remember that I had to try it like for a video or something, and I was like, oh no, everyone else is on the slalom sail, so I'm gonna be like slower. But it was actually like super choppy conditions, and then I had just the same speed as I usually have compared to the slalom guys, but it felt much softer for me because there was like this steep chop. So I was kind of blown away the first time I tried the AC-Z. So now having like the new AC-2, I'm really excited to see what this one does differently or better.
Yeah, practically the base of the AC-2 is very different to the AC-Z. It's coming from the AC-1, our professional race sail that our team is using in PWA. And so the outline of the sail is exactly the same. The laugh curve is exactly the same as our AC-1. The buttons setup, again, it's using 3-piece, 2-piece, different parts. Each button is actually different, like the race sail. So it's a proper race sail. The only difference, as I was saying, is no wide sleeve on the top, a very wide sleeve at the bottom, and the two cams at the bottom. The other thing that is very different to a race sail is the material which is used on the mast sleeve. The mast sleeve, if you can see, it has a full Dacron. There's no monofilm. So this Dacron is actually absorbing the waves and the chop and the gust better than a monofilm. A monofilm is much more reactive, so when you get the gust, acceleration is faster. When you hit the chop, it's also more reactive, has more reflex, but at the same time, if you're not super trained, if you're not super fit, it could lift you up from your stance. And every time you get lifted, you lose speed. Having the Dacron in front there, like in this case, so the whole mast sleeve is just Dacron, is actually, when you hit the chop, it's absorbing this hit, and so you can keep your position and you can keep the speed. So in some cases, if you're not super fit like our pros, then this material is actually helping a lot.
Okay, yeah, that explains what I kind of felt when I tested it the first time, what I said it like feels softer. But then what's really interesting to me is what changed from last year when we called it AC-Z to now being the AC-2. Like what changed in the sail itself and how will it feel different to the version from last year?
The difference is pretty big. It's like, it's huge. Let's say that normally we were changing, we had 3 generations of AC-Z since we developed the concept. And every year it was going better and better, had a bigger range, it was faster, it was more comfortable. We saw every year like small, better steps, but this year is just huge because the base is just different. And the sleeve is actually wider than the AC-Z on the bottom. So this gives now a complete racing performance and feeling to the board. So when you're rating the board much easier, you're getting much more drive and much more power compared to the old AC-Z. So you don't feel that you're missing a race sail at all when you're using now this new one. The boom size, the profile, the opening of the leech is just a pure race sail. So when you go on it, you hook in and you forget completely that you feel like you're having cambers everywhere. It's like proper race sail. Yeah. And what is the big advantage, let's say, especially in light wind? Light wind power has increased by a lot. Let's say that the old AC-Z was also really nice in strong wind, and this keeps going, let's say, as good in strong wind as well.
One thing that I'm just seeing now, because it's also the first time I see it rigged up, the sail kind of doesn't look like a two-cam sail, because if I look here, like the way this batten kind of comes into the mast, it looks like there is a camber here, even if there isn't. And like it keeps the profile, even though there's no cambers up here. So how did you do that?
Let's say to keep the profile that you see like on exactly there. So it would be the third cam. It's not there, but it looks like there's a cam. There are different things that we did. There's actually a laugh panel which starts from the bottom of the sail, which goes all the way to the top. It's one whole piece, and this actually brings in the profile to keep having this nice shape. So that helps a lot for sure. It's one of the points. We have all Kevlar reinforcements underneath the stitching, which yes, there exactly, which are pulling in the profile again. So that's why you have this nice corner also on the top of the sail. We have a second laugh panel, which is this one here, just on the top, again to keep the profile of the sail here on the top, like if you would have a wide sleeve and cambers. So all these laugh panels, reinforcements, and also the shape that we're giving a straight angle, just exactly there. So if you see, it's a triangle, the mast sleeve. It starts narrow, it goes wide, and then it goes another straight line again to a narrow part. And all this setup is actually bringing in this nice profile to the sail. And as you see, it has a nice deep profile, just like any proper race sail.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And then I actually just rigged up the sail. And what I noticed is it was like much easier to downhaul and then just put the cambers on compared to the previous versions of the AC-Z. And yeah, this felt super, super easy and nice, was super quick to rig up. And what can you tell me about this?
What changed is actually the laugh curve. The laugh curve is coming from the AC-1, so it has actually less laugh curve than the AC-Z, and which is kind of strange. Normally you would expect like a race sail to have more laugh curve, but actually our AC-1 doesn't have so much laugh curve, and that's why it's easy to downhole. This is why also the material gets less stress in terms of mast and booms and whatever we're using as components. So there's less laugh curve, and that makes it very easy to downhole. And because of this, also the cambers are then going in much easier. So I know that the AC-Z had a kind of a lot of tension. This one is, you can almost downhole it by hand.
Yeah, I don't know why this is, maybe because it's all Dacron, but this like looks super clean here, the whole mast sleeve. There's no wrinkles or anything. And also I think on the older model you had like a lot of tension on the, like sometimes here I had extreme tension, and this just seems very, very like smooth and no wrinkles, nothing.
Yes, exactly. The mast sleeve is looking much more clean compared to the AC-Z, and that's for sure. Or let's say when you use Dacron on the mast sleeve, also the AC-Z had it. It's actually easier to make it clean because the material is softer, so it's stretching more, and so the wrinkles are not showing up. And if you look at the race sails, they are made with monofilm, and to have it very clean is much more difficult because the material is stiffer. So to have if you have like a quarter of a millimeter off, you would see straight away a wrinkle, but on the Dacron that would be actually hidden. But on the AC-Z, we still had a little bit of wrinkles on, even if it was a Dacron sleeve. But because we redesigned it from zero, we had experience on this type of concept, we managed to make it super clean. Also the other side of the profile, so the downward side of the profile is super clean, and that's very important.
Yeah, you guys cannot see it from this angle, but there's like absolutely no wrinkles also on the lee panel. So this looks really, really clean. Okay, so I think that's anything else about the technical aspects?
Technical aspects are that practically the sail is plug and play, and we have only one eyelet on the clew, and that's again to have one setting, because that's where the tension of the whole leech starts from. So if the leech has a starting point from the clew, if you change position of it, you could end up actually spoiling all the work we've done to a perfect leech when it goes into tension. And there's a lot of S-shaping in the buttons. So if you have that position, all the S-shapes are working perfectly according to how windy it is. So S-shaping means that when the wind gets stronger, the buttons are going negative. So they're opening more from a certain point, so they're depowering the sail. So you don't need to change a sail size. You don't need to change clew position to have less power. And you can just have one easy position. And so that's why we only have one island in this case.
All right, I really cannot wait to try this sail because this is probably my favorite sail to just go out and have fun, but I kind of always want to be fast, so I still need a sail that performs like absolute top, and I think this is the sail for me to just have fun. But now my question is, when I say I buy this sail and I roll it out for the first time, what is like the tuning I have to do and or like the fine tuning to make it perfect?
Yeah, you were saying that, this would be your best sail for having fun, right? For the speed and so. Actually, all our AC lines, so the AC-1 LTD Pro, the AC-1, the AC-2 and the AC-0, actually as final speed, they're all pretty similar. Yeah. They are not having a big difference of max speed. The biggest difference is actually the power they offer. So like, for example, if you go on the AC-1 LTD, has a very wide sleeve, and therefore you get a lot of power. But again, if you're not able to hold on to that power because you're not fit, you're not sailing that much, or your technical skills are not that good, practically you're getting lifted all the time and then you lose speed. When you take a sail like this, because there's no sleeve on the top, so there's not much power on the top, you're always closing the gap on the board, and therefore you're actually using the performance of the sail 100%, and this could be in the end faster than having the AC-1 LTD, which is a pure race sail, and using it at 80%.
Yeah, I also found this out because when I go like on the AC-1 Limited for like 1 hour full power and I push every run, I'm dead after 1 hour. But with this one, it's kind of a little bit more forgiving. And like you say, I don't need to work so hard to be in this position where I rail the board. If I just want to go out for like a longer period of time and have fun with this sail, I don't need to work as hard to still get like a railing run kind of.
But you asked me about the tuning of the sail, and it's very simple because practically, if you have a 0.7 extension, you have to just put the sizes that are written and downhold the sail till 2 cm to the end. Sometimes what happens is that the sail is new, so when the sail is new, it's possible that you will not leave only 2 cm at the bottom, but you will have to leave maybe 3 cm the first time, but then after you use it 1 or 2 times, you will get actually the exact measurements which are written on the extension.
I have a question there because with a lot of customers, I have these kind of discussions because they say I actually have like 3 or 4 centimeters space in the bottom. So they're asking, can I like make it shorter, the extension? And I always tell them it's not ideal if you have 0 space in between the extension, like if you have the pulleys like this to each other. Can you like explain a little bit why that is?
Yeah, sure. In the end, it's like it's 4 cm is nothing. It's not a big difference. So if you have 4 cm from the full downhole, it's really not a problem. It's not affecting at all the performance of the sail. And if you go at 0, especially when the sail is new, you will notice that, let's say, how do we check the downhole? Downhole, we check it between button 2 and button 3, counting from the top, right? So you're downholing the sail, you have a loose area. The first time you downhole the sail, you go to the point that you want to downhole the sail to, and after 1 hour, you will see that point actually has gone further back because the sail has loosened up, so you have to downhole the sail. So if it's 4 cm underneath, after 2 hours, you could actually come back to the beach and downhole the extra 2 cm, and then you will have those 2 cm gap, which is more than fine. And if you actually would take out the extension and reduce by 2 cm the positioning, it's not the same as having the 2 cm left. It will result to be less, and there will be not enough space to downhold the sail properly. So 2 cm, if there's a gap of 2 cm, it's more than fine. On the AC-2, what we advise is that you go between button 2 and button 3, you downhold the sail, and what we want to see is that from this X-ply panel, so the central, this is the first X-ply panel, this is the second one. On the second left panel, the loose area has to go exactly in the middle. So once you get to this point, you know that you have downholed the sail perfectly. And it's around, let's say normally it's always around 20 centimeters from this line, this stitching here. And if you want a sail which has a little bit more speed, because you want to go a bit more downwind, a little bit more speed, you can downhole an extra cm, but never less than that.
So it's actually different compared to the AC-0, where we go with a downhole kind of onto the X-ply, and here we actually want to go inside the X-ply panel with a downhole, correct?
Yes, exactly. The AC-0, even if it's the same base as the AC-2, it's actually needing less downhole. The reason is because we don't have a mast sleeve in that case, which has cambers at the bottom. So let's say we worked out the leech to have a little bit less opening so that we could keep stability in strong wind and not having too much of a loose leech, which sometimes could bring in overpowered condition, even instability.
Okay, and then the famous question that we get probably asked the most, how do you set up the batten tension on this sail? Probably like on all the other sails, but let's go over it.
Regarding buttons, yes, it's very important because this is where you actually get the stability of the sail, the pressure points correct on the sail to be comfortable. So what happens is that I see a lot of people just putting a lot of tension on the button, and that is wrong. What you need to do is to put just enough tension to take out the main wrinkles, but not over that. If you put too much tension, you get like a kind of curve at the back of the button, and this does not allow the wind to go out. And when the wind is not going out, it makes the sail super unstable, and it's also making the sail super slow. So if the sail is then slow and unstable, you will not have fun. So the first thing I do is to release completely the button tension to 0, and I get the first wrinkles on the sail. And then once I release them, because I just want to be sure that there's no tension on them, then I start putting tension once I release them, and I just take out the main wrinkles. Once the main wrinkles are out, I just stop. I don't go over that because I don't want to have any tension at the back of the button. This I do it for let's say all the buttons except the lowest one, where I put a little bit more tension to have it a little bit of curve at the back, but not too much again, because if you put too much, the button will not be able to open this way, and you want that in strong wind, also this button is opening. So I still put a little bit more, but not too much. I still want the button to breathe when it goes into stronger wind. And I do the same for the top button. Top button, I put a bit more tension because I don't want that it's moving around. I want it stable. I want that it's closing the gap on top of the sail like just a winglet in a plane. So only the bottom and top buttons get a little bit more tension than the others.